He's like, do you have a will? And that's when it hit me. Then I'm like, I got to sit down. I couldn't make anything work anymore. Everything that I touched before went to gold. I am 0 for like 20 in court. And when she was born, that's it. That was the first time I knew true love.
Welcome to The Human Experience. I'm Jennifer Peterkin, and this is episode 7, Mike's Story. Mike's story spans multiple seasons of his life, all different, yet all intertwining to create the person that he is today. Someone who has lived in both the highest peaks and the lowest valleys. I met Mike last year. I was looking for someone to help me start lifting after an old back injury had flared up. The environment of Mike's gym is open, respectful, and friendly, a true reflection of its owner. Meeting Mike, you would never know the road he's traveled. He is a perpetually positive person, which can be super annoying when he's kicking your butt at the gym. But Mike's story is a great reminder that people are complex, and we don't always know what they're walking through, even if they have a smile on their face. It's also a reminder that you can choose to get back up again and again, even when it's hard, even when you feel like things couldn't be worse. You never know what's just around the corner.
All right.
So Mike, how do you start it then?
We just start.
Oh, you already started, didn't you?
Yeah, I started. It's less nervous that way. Then I'm not like,
I'm never nervous.
Introduce yourself.
Yes. Let me tell you something.
Okay, so go. Mike,
Here
in 5 words or less.
5 words or less.
Just kidding. You can use as many words as you want. All right, so tell me about your business, because that's what you're doing now. We'll work now and go back.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go back and forth.
Okay.
Just let's make it confusing for everybody.
It's going to be like a Tarantino movie.
That's it. Yes, without the violence and hopefully with less cursing.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the business is. I guess I started it in '92.
What is your business?
I'm not telling. No, it's now it's a 24-hour gym.
Okay.
And it's personal training, post-physical therapy, preventive therapy to prevent yourself from going to physical therapy. Mm-hmm. And I started it in '92 doing home care. Well, I couldn't call it home care because that's illegal.
Why?
Unless you're a therapist. You have to be licensed.
Oh.
And I was going to school, but I was billing it under personal training. My mentor, who was a physical therapist, graduated from Penn, co-owner of a very successful, still in business now. He suggested me to do this. So, I basically did whatever he said.
So how did you get into that?
In high school, okay, so now we got to go back. So growing up, I didn't have a very good support network.
Okay.
Horrible. Just absolutely horrible. It was actually reverse. So all the people you trusted growing up, it wasn't very good. That was an Italian household I grew up in. So I was adopted into an Italian household.
Okay.
And so I'm a very laid back person. So it didn't really work for me. I was always calm, but had a lot of energy. Very energetic, yet calm at the same time. If that makes sense.
I know you, so yes.
That makes sense
to me.
Yeah, but when I get going, I'm going. But I was a lot more, I was young. I'm a boy. That's what happens. But so anyway, teachers, family members, all negative stuff. But in high school, I transitioned from a private school to a public school. Not because I was trouble, just because, I just didn't fit what they were looking for. I just didn't fit the mold. Basically, that was it. I came from a Italian family from Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. And
Wait, you grew up in Brooklyn?
I didn't grow up in Brooklyn. My parents, my adopted parents grew up in Brooklyn. So we were there every other weekend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay. Growing up, we were there a lot.
Yeah.
See, I was adopted from New Rochelle, New York, from whatever foster care, orphanage, whatever you call it. And then went to someplace, I forget, somewhere in New York, and then to Atlanta, Georgia, and then to Jersey in Hillsdale, right down the street from Travolta Tires, John Travolta's father's tire place, and which is a great place, by the way. If you go to Hillsdale, that's a family place right there.
Okay.
It's a great town. I'm not just plugging
not just the tires.
No, not just the tires.
Yeah,
the town itself is amazing.
Gotcha.
And it's right there. It's right on the border of New York. Anyway, it was. Then after that, I went to Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania.
And this was all you'd been adopted at this point. You're with the same family.
It was 9 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got taken early. That was good.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
you were 9 months old.
9 months old.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was it. And then now we're here in Pennsylvania, and it's a little bit of a different on the main line. It's different from Hillsdale, New Jersey. It was different in the sense where the income level was different, and the ethnic backgrounds were different. Being on the edge of New York, you had every single ethnic background. Mm-hmm. So I grew up with that. It was great. And then I come to a place where it just seemed to be all white people, mm-hmm. which is fine. But, and very wealthy people. So it was a little different for me. Anyway, went to high school after a private school. Didn't do the best. I didn't really try that hard in school because there was a lot of negative reinforcement. So I'm like, well, what's the point? Mm-hmm. So I went to a public school, and I think it was about junior high school. There was a substitute teacher named Jay, and he was about 5'8", 5'7", maybe 5'8" on a good day. Big powerlifting guy. And he saw me in school. He was, and I remember him saying, "You look like a man amongst boys," because I looked like this in high school. And and I just had more hair, but and less gray of it. But he saw me, and he was very interested in me, and took an interest right away, and says, "What sports do you play? What do you do here?" And blah blah, everything. Anyway, by the time I was a senior in high school, he convinced me, because I had a suspension because I was late too many times, and he was the guy, like the proctor for it.
Okay.
And he just kept talking to me, and I was like, I'm never going to get any work done. Forget it. I just closed my book up. I'm like, what do you want to know? So we talked, and we basically talked like we're talking now. Mm-hmm. And it was like heart to heart, and it was great. It was the first time anybody asked me about me, and in a loving way. Mm-hmm. And he was just amazing. And he told me about his power. He showed me his magazine. I think he walked around with it, carried it around. But this magazine called Powerlifting USA. It was amazing. I never saw anything like it. He was in there. He was like drug-free national champion. And I thought it was cool. And I was like, oh, this is great. He's like, you could do this. And I was like, well, I play baseball and I'm really into that. But, I don't think it's going to really happen. I just went to a baseball scouting camp, and a really famous baseball player came up to me and asked me, like 10 o'clock at night, I'm hitting baseballs in the batting cages. And he's like, what are you doing here? I tell him my story. Tell him I want to be a pro baseball player. He asked me, what's your support network like? And I had to ask him what the definition was, because I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. It's a support network. I have no idea. And so I told him. He was like, this is a tough business. It's getting even tougher. If you don't have any support network from your family and coaches, it's going to be really hard. He's basically saying you're never going to make it. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter how good you are. So I was like, yeah, I'm out. So I told Jay, I'm like, yeah, I was playing baseball, but, I'm just working out now. I love working out. I love the training. He's like, you got to do powerlifting. He's asking me how much I bench press and how much I do this and deadlift and squat. I'm like, so I tell him. Anyway, he gets me into it, and I start training. And at the same time, I have to do a field experience in senior year. And that's kind of like an internship, mm-hmm. where you get to know where your strengths are, and what you want to do for a living, basically. Okay. So I did this field experience, and I asked the guy, I said, cool, what do I go? What do I do? Do you get me a job? He's like, no, I don't really know. What do you want to do? And I said, I don't know. I like sports, and I'm really interested in medicine. I want to be a surgeon, but, I don't have a lot of confidence because of the way I grew up. So basically I'm thinking, well, I'm too dumb to be a surgeon. But I like medicine, and I don't know why. So he's like, okay. And I'm like, I guess like sports medicine? I don't know. He says, sure, go look in the phone book, go look at a place and go and ask them. And I'm like, okay. So I went to this place, the sports medicine facility in Bryn Mawr, and I asked to talk to the owner. And the actual owner came out, and he brought me in his office. We talked, and he said, "What college do you go to?" Because again, I look like me. And I said, "No, I'm in high school." And he was like, "Yeah, right away. I don't know what a field experience is." I'm like, "I didn't know either." So he was like, "Okay, well, we do internships, and internships are about." I said, "I know what an internship is. I think this is what it is, but in high school, it's to see if I like this field, this career." And he goes, "Oh, okay." He's like, "Yeah, we don't do that." I said, "Yeah, well, I know this one guy here. He's an athletic trainer. He used to be my gym teacher, at the private school I went to. He knows me. And, he knew me, but he didn't like me. So it was probably not a good thing I said that."
Bold of you.
Yeah, he was like, that guy. But, he's like, "Yeah, sure. All right, well, I'll think about it." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And it's me. So I'm like, "I'll think about it." I didn't know he was blowing me off. So a couple of days go by, not even. And I was like, well, he hasn't called me. So I called him. I said, "Hey, man, it's me." And he was like, "Who?" He's like, "Oh, yeah. I don't know. I haven't really given much thought, but I'll give you a call." I was like, "Okay, cool." So I came down the next day, face to face, because I do better that way. I don't like talking on the phone, and I think it's impersonal, and I can't gauge what the person's really feeling behind what their thoughts are unless I look at them. I went over, and he was like, like you again.
Yeah.
Like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Look, I really want to work here. I want this to be the place." He's like, "Why?" I said, "I don't know what I want to do. I'm a senior in high school. I don't really know. I wanted to play baseball. I'm doing this powerlifting now with this guy, Jay." He's like, "How do you know Jay?" I'm like, "Well, because he was a substitute teacher, blah, blah." He goes, "Oh." So now I knew somebody that he knew.
Okay.
So these two guys.
Besides your gym teacher.
Besides the ex-gym teacher. So these two guys got together, this guy Jay and Bill, they got together and they both went to this high school, this local high school. They definitely weren't in the same class because Jay was really young. And they made a fitness facility in the school, the high school. Bill donated the equipment and Jay got it all done with the connections that he has because was highly connected. So he worked at Parks and Recreation in a township building. So he knew everybody. So between the two of them, they put this gym together. So they were working already together. So when I mentioned his name, it was like an in for me.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that until later, of course. And he goes, "All right, look, it'll be like a day-to-day thing. I'll give you a try. It's not working out. Just understand I'm going to say it's done." I said, "That's fine. That's good. That's all I want is a shot, And so I started working there. And I liked physical therapy. It was kind of cool. And I knew a lot about, I studied the muscles from when I started working out in second grade with soup cans. I didn't know what I was doing.
Why?
Because I'm crazy. Because I was really tall for my age.
Okay.
And I was really, really skinny.
Okay.
Like Matumbo skinny. I had small bones, medium to small bones.
But you were aware of that in second grade?
Yes. I don't know what happened, but I had a very huge body awareness, self-awareness. And I would look at other people and I compare. I was always comparing, am I where I'm supposed to be?
Yeah. Did anyone comment on your body to you?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, even family members. "Oh, he's so skinny. He's so tall. Oh, he's a beanpole. He's these chicken legs," stuff like that. And it was oh, it's kind of hurtful, but whatever. So yeah, so I started working out. I watched Superman, the old Superman. He wasn't really a big guy, but I read comic books, and I was like, I want to look like the guys in the comic books. They were all, those are the guys. I don't know. That was a depiction of a real man back in the day. So I'm like, man. Well, I want to.
That's so hard to live up to.
And in second grade too. I wanted that in second grade. That's it. Because I was like, well, I have to be a man, and I was basically being treated like a man because I wasn't good enough for this, I wasn't good enough for that, and I had to it was almost like hurry up, let's go. So I
hurry up and
forced
grow
it.
up.
Yeah, I guess. And So that was it. So I worked out. I got this booklet of DP, Fit for Life. I still remember it. And there were gold sand-filled weights, 6.6 pounds. Nothing. You could lift it with your finger. I stuck with this stupid weights from 2nd grade until 7th.
Wow.
The same weights. I don't know if you know anything about progressive training, but it's not a good idea. So what I did was I was basically going through the motions, but they had this really cool book, and it had on the back the anatomy of the muscles on both sides. I memorized the muscles. It told what exercises work the muscles, and then it led me to go and look at other books, and I really had to seek out all of the muscles. So doing all that, fast forward to back to Bill, in case you're lost now. So then I was in the facility. I'm helping him out. I'm getting hot packs. I'm making ice. I'm putting it in a bag and tying it and giving it to the therapist. Then I progressed to putting it on the patient. And then they had stim pads. And I could put stim pads on patients. And which is pretty cool because when I went to school, you have to learn nerve innervation, or muscle. I knew where they were already because from 2nd grade on, all I did was study this stuff. So I had a really good understanding of the muscles. This is why I went back to that. Now it's coming. So when patients were there and they would ask me questions because they didn't know I was an aide.
Yeah.
Actually, I wasn't even an aide. I was an aide.
Adjacent.
Yeah, I'm a field experience aide in high school that looked like I was 27. So there was a new therapist, and she just came in when I was coming in. So she didn't know I was an aide, apparently. Nobody told her. They just knew me as Michael, and this was a month or two later, not even. So she's asking me questions like, "Hey, what's a good exercise for the gastroc? This guy, he's got a tear and blah, blah, blah. What can you do?" I'm like, "Well, you can start with the soleus and work around it and then go to that." She's like, "Oh, that's an excellent idea." And I was telling her all the exercises. She's like, "That's great. Oh, great, thanks." And then she would ask me more about a shoulder, about this, about that. And then one day, I'm folding towels because I'm an aide. Adjacent, like you said. I'm sitting there folding towels, for ultrasounds and everything. And she's like, yeah. I came from University of Miami and blah, blah. She just started pouring herself out on life, did physical therapy and blah, blah, blah. And she goes, "Where'd you go to college?" Oh, no, she said, where'd you go to school? I told the name of the school. And I said, that's where I go. And she goes, "Oh, wait a minute. You're in school still?" I said, yeah, I'm still in school. And she's like, "Wait a minute." Now she's really confused because it's been a month or so now. She's been asking me questions. And now she's starting to hit her. And she's like, wait a minute. Now she's getting a little irritated. "So you're not a therapist?" I said, "No." She's like, "Oh, so you're going to school for physical therapy?" I said, "Well, no, not yet. I mean, I'm just in high school." She's like, "You're in high school?" She was so angry at me.
Why?
Because she felt duped, I guess. I don't know. Because she put all this trust in me and followed all of my professional.
But she didn't, you didn't know that she didn't know.
I had no
right?
idea.
Yeah.
Seriously, I had no idea. I thought she was cute, and I was hoping, something would happen. But that was it. Anyway, so that was a completely different relationship after that. And,
I guess so.
Yeah. But she would ask me all the time, "Hey, what do you think of Bill?" Everybody was afraid of him, except for me, because I saw him as a father figure. Mm. And he would teach me. This was the first time anybody ever spent any time with me. Mm-hmm. And he would teach me, and he would show me all sorts of stuff. And I was like, I love him. I think he's great. So now I'm working for him. Now he's paying me. It wasn't even a month, and he's already paying me.
Oh, wow. So still in high school.
Still in high school, and he's like, "I'm paying you." I think he paid me $8 an hour.
Wow. And
this is in 1991. 92. And I was grateful. I was like, "Oh, yeah, you don't have to pay me. It's a field experience." He's like, No, don't worry about it. Just don't tell him. If you get in trouble, just, whatever. So that was it. The field experience ended, and he hired me on, and he had a sports medicine clinic, him and his partner. And then he also had a place at a convalescent home, subacute. So I would go there with him now. And then I graduated high school. And immediately after high school, that gym that I was telling you about, that my buddy Jay and Bill put together for the township and the high school, they wanted me. Actually, the guy that my old gym teacher, he called me. It was his job. I'm sure he loved it. And he said, hey, Bill wants you to run the fitness center. And I'm like in my dorm room. And I'm like, now the dorm room is in Bryn Mawr. Like I'm in Bryn Mawr.
Yeah.
And it's right down the street. It was in Radnor. And I'm like, I worked out there. I don't want to work there. I mean, you know. And he's like, look, the guy is just left. He's graduating Temple Medicine, and he was working there, and he's gone now. He's going to be leaving. We need somebody in there. I told him I wasn't interested. The next day, Bill calls me. Hey, you're going to be running the fitness center. Just want to let you know. And I'm like, okay. So I'll do whatever you tell me. I was like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Because I did think about it, and he was like, either that or we close it. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, I'll do it. I mean, how bad can it be? So there you go. So then I started running that. So I had the fitness center that I was running. I was managing it. Like I had free reign, full autonomy to do anything I wanted there. Mm-hmm. And people trusted me. Like the township had to trust me. The school had to trust me. And those guys trusted me. So I was like serious. Like, it was a heart attack. I'm like, okay. I'm like cleaning up. I'm making sure everything's good. I'm like worried about liability, because Bill taught me about liability. Mm-hmm. He taught me everything. So I wanted to do a good job. Again, making $8 an hour there.
So you were in college, though, at this point?
Yes. Now I'm in college.
What college did you go to?
Harcum.
Okay.
And they had a physical therapy assistant program there.
And that's what you're going for? Physical therapy assistant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I talked to Bill, and he was like, what college are you trying to go into? I said, well, I basically said I'm going to Beaver. Now it's Arcadia, but there's this girl, Raylene, she was a therapist there, and she gave me a really good recommendation. And at the time, it was like the third best school for PT to go to. But there wasn't many schools back then. So I was going to go to Beaver. And I'm like, I wasn't too thrilled about it. But I was like, I got in. He's like, I don't really think that that's right for you. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, you're more of a hands-on guy. You see how I'm in here in an office, and you're out there doing all the work? Do you want to be in the office and you want me out there? Like, if you had your choice. I said, no, I want to work with the patients. He's like, managed care is coming. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. He's like, healthcare. Insurance. The insurance for healthcare is coming, and they're going to manage what you can do and what you can't do, and it's going to suck. He's like, it's already sucking. I'm in here. I have to do so much paperwork. It's ridiculous. You're not a school guy. And I said, I'm not. And he said, Harcum has a PTA program. Go there. And basically, in my mind, I'm going to work for him, and I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing, except making way, way more money. That sounded appealing to me.
Sure.
So while I was going to school, he was like, what are you doing now? I said, well, I'm bouncing in a bar. I'm working at your gym. I'm waitering. I'm working at this little kid's place with a recreation station. It's not even around anymore.
What were you doing there?
It was like a floater. Everybody was a floater. I worked in a ball pit, make sure the kids, because they swung in a ball pit.
Okay.
Yeah. Made hot dogs, basically put them on the thing. Anyway, so that's it. So I had like 5 jobs. And he was like, well, you really should go home with one of these old ladies. When they get cut off of Medicare, they're always telling you, I don't know what to do. I said, yes, they're right. They're always telling me, I don't know what I'm going to do. Mm. So I said, well, can I do that? He's like, just build under personal training. And it's not physical therapy. Because I told him, I said, very specifically, my teacher told me not to. And he said, yeah, just do that. And I was like, all right. So I started doing that. And he and every other therapist in the place, they all referred everybody to me. So I had this business going. I'm a freshman in college. It's great. And I've learned so much. And I've learned so much from him. He's a wizard. Well, he's retired now. He was a wizard. Like, he's hands down just a wizard. And he's like the MacGyver of physical therapists. I mean, we would walk a stroke patient. He would wrap the foot up with this ACE bandage and literally get it to walk just to get the proprioception, the movement, everything back. And it was great.
Wow.
Everything he said, I was like, whatever you want. So anyway, that's how I started my business. I went into people's homes, and then they referred me. And then I learned how referral process just kept going and going and going. Mm-hmm. So the first thing I did was create a logo, because I loved
Yeah, like logos. At that point, did you have a business, or were you just like...
I actually have a business, my first business card I made.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
And
have to see
the
that.
logo was, I stole it from Century. Like it was like Century Boxing because Chuck Norris did the ads for Century Boxing.
God.
Anyway, yeah.
So at what point did you decide like this is an offshoot of the business? I have to actually create my own business.
Well, I did it right away. I was like,
Oh, you did?
Oh, instantly. I was like, I got to get shirts. I got to get my own phone number. The phone never rang. I had my own answering machine. I made it all professional. I'm like a little kid. I mean, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I was going to do it. And because Bill told me to.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And then, and I only had confidence in this.
Did you quit any of your other jobs?
No, I kept all my jobs. My bouncing job was great.
How were you doing anything?
So usually the labs were in the morning.
Okay.
So
you listed like 4 other jobs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so the labs were in the morning, and then they were usually done by like 10, 10:30, 11.
Okay.
And then I went and from 11 or 10 to 3, usually 2:30ish, to the convalescent home.
Okay.
And did PT there. And then I hurried up and went down the street, because that was in Bryn Mawr, to Radnor, and I did the high school gym from 3 to 9. So I worked at the gym. And then my bouncing job started from 9 until when the bar closed, 2:30. And they said, they knew my story. They said, just come as soon as, so I got there most of the time at like 9:15, 9:30, and then I worked there. And then I worked until, whenever they needed me to.
And what about the kids' place?
Then it was like opposite days. Like I had it all done because my schedule was like labs were certain days. I think it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, that was my schedule. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I would do the recreation station, some PT, and then at night I'd waiter.
Wow.
Because my classes were...
And you needed all of this to make ends meet.
Yeah, and also because, how else was going to make, make money too?
Yeah.
I mean, college wasn't expensive then. I could pay for college. My dad wanted to pay for college.
Okay.
He was like, it's cheap. This is a cheap school. He's like, don't worry about it. You don't have to pay for it. I said, but I can. I'm making plenty of money. Mm-hmm. He's like, just save it and whatever. So that's what I did. I saved my money and I went out. I was basically like a rich 18, 19-year-old.
Yeah. So why did you keep all of those jobs if you didn't have to?
Because I wanted to be successful.
Okay.
I didn't want to be...
and that was your measure of success?
I didn't know what measure of success was because I only knew success from what my father did was just make money. He wasn't around. He didn't really spend a ton of time with any of us, but he was always deemed as successful. He had we had a big house and all that other stuff. It was on the main line. And that everybody kept saying, "Oh, you look where you live," and that's good. I don't really like the home life that we had wasn't very good in my mind. Mm-hmm. Like that didn't seem like a home, a family. My mom wasn't happy; she would take it out on me. My sister wasn't happy; she slept the whole day. Basically, she's always sleeping. It didn't seem like this was a good thing, but that was success, I guess.
Yeah.
But I also like the fact that I can interact with children, adults, and teenagers in high school and college, with the gym, and then older adults, people like geriatrics. Mm-hmm. And so I like that. I like that I could shift gears all the time and go back and forth and, and pick people's brains and help them out.
Yeah.
So that to me, I thought, I didn't know it, but I was getting successful. Mm-hmm. And the money was irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was it. And that's how I started my business. And I did the home training. And then, as soon as I graduated, I got my license in physical therapy. Mm-hmm. I didn't study because everybody was failing. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to fail too. And so I never studied. And I failed it by 1 point the first time. Oof. And I was like, if I just studied an hour, that could have made a difference. And so I studied this for the second time around, very loosely by the pool. and then, of course, it passed. A month later, 2 months later, I was able to take the test again. And then I called up Bill and I was like, hey, I passed and I'm ready to go. Like, now at this point, I was the highest paid aide ever. I was getting paid $18 an hour in the 90s.
Yeah.
And he was like, look. And I'm like, oh, I always know what bad news is, especially the first word, look. You're already the highest paid aide. I can't really pay you anymore.
Yeah.
And we don't really need another therapist. I just hired another guy. He's, and I don't really need anybody. But he was pretty good. He knew what other people needed. And he knew what I needed, I think. And he was always telling me. He's always put me in my place, too. And it was good for me. Anyway, he said, keep doing what you're doing. Do the business. Keep doing it. And I was like, all right. So I was pissed. Because I was like, that's what I wanted to do. All I wanted to do was work for him. Because that was like my dream. So I just continued to do that for a little bit. My parents were like, you can't do that. You have to work for somebody. You got to. So I got a job at a fitness training company. And
because having your own business wasn't real? Like
apparently it was not real.
Okay.
It was like me, to them, it was like putting a thrift shop. Like, I don't know if you did this when you were younger, like a thrift shop in your bedroom. And then putting up signs and writing things. This is what I did.
I never did this.
This is what I did. I was in kindergarten. I remember that. And I wrote down like items in my room that I was selling. And I put the price on it. And this is how I marketed. I opened my window. I thought they would all come into my room and they would know. I had no idea. So I'm still, to this day, I'm not good at advertising. That was my advertising. And to this day, I think it's the same thing. I'll open my windows like, people see the sign, I guess. I don't know. So I think they thought it was that type of business.
Okay. Yeah.
But all they knew is that my mom was like, where's all this cash coming from? Because there was so much cash from the jobs I had. There was all cash. Most of them.
Yeah.
So I had a box full of cash, and I was pretty good at saving.
Yeah, that's usually a red flag.
yeah, and I think they were like, I think he's doing drugs, dealing. But yeah, so they didn't think it was big. So I had to work for this company, and I worked there maybe 6 months.
Were you living at home still?
Yeah, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah, and then they were trying to kick me out, but they wanted me to stay. It was very strange.
Yeah.
So my mom wrote me this nice letter, just get the hell out of the house, basically. And that letter really hurt my feelings because every time I tried to leave, they kept saying, don't leave, save your money. I had an apartment right out of high school. Like as soon as I graduated high school, they were always like, get the hell out of here. So I took it seriously. I didn't know they were just saying, get the hell out of here, but not really. So I got an apartment and I needed a cosigner. And then they said, no. So this is the first time I tried to get out of there. And they said, save your money, we'll pay you can stay at school. So literally I was in Haverford and Bryn Mawr was right down the street and I dormed at the school. But I only did it for a semester. And then I went back. That's all I needed apparently. So yeah, I worked there for not even 6 months at this fitness training place. They were trying to do home training with an occupational therapist. And him and I opened up the home training and we just hit it running. Because I was the therapist, he was the physical, he was the occupational, and we hit all these people with special injuries and needs, and we did home training, and then I started calculating, because I was running all over the place. 4 a.m, I'd get up for this job. I come home late at night. I lost my girlfriend over it. She thought I was cheating on her. So anyway, I figured out how much time I was working for them and how much money I was making them. And I was like, I got to do this myself. This is not good.
And this is essentially what you were already doing.
I was before. Not on this scale, though.
Right.
Like I was seeing people all day. I was just destroying the business. They were very good about getting their employees to work, and they gave them goals. If you do this amount of appointments a week, every appointment after that, you make $1,000 more in salary over the years. If you can keep that up. So that probably wound up to be like $5 maybe, like every hour. But I took it really serious because I'm competitive. I'm like, I'm going to crack that open. It was like the number was 25. So I hit like in the 50s. So I doubled everything. And they were like telling everybody at the staff meetings, like to motivate. I thought they were giving me like props, but they were motivating everybody else to try to catch up to me because they can make more money. So finally I went up to the two owners and the guy I did the home training with, he was kind of an owner. And I said, hey, look, I'm getting paid, I think it was like $35,000, $40,000. I said, I'm pulling in this much for you guys. Pay me $75,000 and I'll continue to stay here, work for you, and just destroy everything. I just need to make some more money, you know? And they said no. Well, they put me at like 55 or 60 or something like that. And they gave me that. And it still wasn't good enough for me. I'm like, nah, that's not good. I said, look, I'm just going to go my separate way. I know we have a confidentiality agreement, but I wrote up this contract. So what I did is I made a new contract for the contract I signed.
Okay.
Because I was young, and they have all these kids sign these contracts. I mean, it's okay, but it's kind of unfair to somebody who's young.
Sure.
So I smartened up and everything, and I looked at their contract. Oh, I'm going to make my own contract. So I made my own contract, and I said, look, I'm going to take these clients with me that you guys gave me, basically, and I'm going to see them privately myself. The people that I brought here, because I brought clients too to them, like family or friends or whoever, I go out. These people I'm going to take as well. The other people that I have, there's the other half, I'm going to transition to you and make sure that they stay with you. And I'm also going to stay out of your radius, but I'm going to be in this area. This is where I'm going to be. And they said, okay.
Wow. That's kind of unbelievable.
Yeah, so I had them to nix the contract.
And they literally could have given you $15,000 more and you would have just stayed.
I can't believe, like, retrospectively, they were like, we should have did that because I'm still doing it. What they told me when we were stopping, they said, look, we want to have a good relationship with you still. And I said, so do I. That's why I made this contract.
Okay.
But we're going to tell you right now, look, we've had so many people do this before. They go out on their own and they all fail. And for like a split second, I was like, oh my gosh, could I fail?
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, it's not going to be me. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Well, that's not me. And I know that may be something you just tell people. I don't know. But it's either way. Like, you're talking to a guy that already did this out of high school. And I learned from you guys, I know how to do this now. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm just going to do it my way. It's just going to be my thing. And that was it. I had my first facility in 2000 in Newtown Square. And then every year I averaged another facility. I had 9 of them. And then I bought one. Yeah, I had 9 of them one time.
And these were you calling them gyms or what were you calling them?
No, sports training centers.
Sports training centers.
Because they were tiny. The first one I had, I don't know, it was like 500 square feet. And then I started getting geriatric facilities. I got 3 or 4 facilities in the area, and I ran their fitness wellness programs. So all I was doing is running their wellness programs. I made a protocol for them for all the exercise for the old people for the classes, and I hired people to run it. I trained them. I said, here's the protocol. This is how you do it. Everybody had shirts on. It all said the business name on there. Everything was Q Fitness everywhere. I had trucks so that everybody knew who you were. So when home training come in, hey, they're going to be in a truck. It's going to be marked. They're going to have a uniform on. I made it all professional. And it was no longer in my my bedroom with like crayons and paper saying the prices. But yeah, so that was it. And then I was rolling from 2000 until 2006. In 6 years, I built, I think, 9 facilities.
Wow.
And I was buying rental properties because now in 2000, I bought my first house.
Okay.
Because, I was making money.
Yeah.
And I could get out of the house. So the time, now this period was like 8 months. So the time my mom wrote the letter to the time that I moved out was 8 months. So it took me 8 months. And the only reason why is because I didn't have any credit. My dad always told me, he's a financial advisor. He always told me, you pay for things with debit cards. You only pay for things with the money that you have and blah, 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 blah. And then that's not real world.
No, I mean, it's good practice to pay for stuff with the money that you have, but building your credit is part of that.
Exactly. And that's what the mortgage guy told me. And the mortgage guy was a guy I went to second grade with. So he was really cool. He's like, all right, look, we're going to do this for like 3 to 6 months. You'll build up your credit and you'll be rolling. So I got a credit card and did all this stuff. And then I came back, got a mortgage, got my house in 2000. And that was in Westchester, in Westtown. That was it. Everybody thought it was crazy. You're never going to be able to afford that. And I'm like, I'm telling you, I know where I'm going. Anyway, got in the house. Then I said, this was easy to buy this house. Oh, and back then there were no doc loans.
Yeah.
So I bumped into this realtor, this other realtor in an open house down the street from me. It was a little condo. And I'm like, let me go in here and look at this, just see what's around. I was bored. And now I'm driving nice cars. So now I bought my first real car. And I rolled up in there and I'm feeling really good about myself. And, I talked to her and she was like, oh yeah, you could do this as an investment property. I'm like, tell me more. So then I started using her and I started looking at stuff and I started buying rental properties.
Yeah.
So now let's fast forward 2006.
Yeah.
I have 5 or 6 rental properties. I have my house and I find out I have cancer too. And it just killed me. I'm 32 years old, 33 years old, and now all of a sudden I have cancer. And that's really screwy too. And I had kidney cancer, which is you can't do anything about it. So they didn't know how far along I was. My doctor, who was a client of mine's father, he was crying and telling me on the phone, he's like, you have cancer. And I'm like, I'm driving a $100,000 car. I'm on top of the world.
Yeah.
I got everything I need. I was at an employee's rental property that I'm basically gave them a job and they can progress their life and get that. She was so excited to show me. And he's telling me this as I'm in her kitchen. And he's like, you sitting down? And I'm like, no. And he tells me, he's like, you have cancer. And because I just took the MRI a half an hour ago.
Oh, wow.
And I guess the guy called right away and he called me instantly. So now I'm sitting down and my employee is there and I'm like, all right, so what do we do? Because I'm like, I could solve every problem.
Sure.
I did everything. I made contracts. I did all my facilities. I made my own contracts. I was buying 2 houses a year. I was killing it. And he's like, I don't know what we're going to do. I mean, you're going to have surgery at the very least. You're going to have things taken out of you. You're going to be losing a lot of parts. And I'm like, all right, well, and then it's gone. It's like, we're good. He's like, do you have a will? And that's when it hit me. Then I'm like, I got to sit down. So I sat down on the stairs. And I remember because there were little windy stairs. I sat down the stairs and I was like, now it was real. And I told her, I said, look, this is a great house. I love it. I'm so proud of you. I got to go. And so that was it. And that changed everything. So that was September 11th, I found out, 2006.
Wow.
And then October 16th, the next month, I got my kidney taken out.
How did you, I mean, I know that's how you found out, but what was the process to you're on top of the world and in the back of your mind, something's wrong? What got you to getting the MRI?
Well, it was a CAT scan. Something was wrong with me for 5 years. I didn't feel well. I had a fever at night. I felt feverish, and I felt like I was going to wake up sick. I'm like, I'm going to wake up sick tomorrow morning. I would call my employees.
For 5 years?
Yeah, and it was bad. I had cancer for 10 years based upon how the tumor size. So they said it grows, I forget what it is, how many millimeters or centimeters,
So basically since 1996.
Yeah, I had cancer. So I had cancer in college.
Wow.
Yeah. I had cancer when I was powerlifting and breaking national records. I had cancer.
We haven't talked about that yet. We have to go back to that.
Oh, yeah.
But wait, so you're feeling like crap for 5 years. What makes you finally say, I'm going to do something about that?
I had all these tests. I scheduled the CAT scan myself after all these stupid things that this doctor, he was a family doctor. He kept always asking me if I was on cocaine and steroids. And I'm like, no, I'm not on any of this stuff, because he didn't work out, And when you take your shirt off and he does a little thing, he's like, oh, well, this guy's on steroids, I guess, because he works out. So, yeah, I felt like there was something wrong. You know when something's wrong. And I'm very in tune with my body because this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I scheduled a CAT scan because I'm like, I had to poop in a bag. I thought this guy was messing with me. He did all sorts of things. I had a Holter monitor to check my heart rate.
So so you were trying to figure this out for 5 years and
no,
weren't
I was
getting
trying to
anywhere?
figure it out for, maybe he hung around with this for maybe 2 months.
Oh, okay. So you were feeling bad for 5 years, but it took you 5 years to go try to figure out what was wrong.
Yeah. Well, I quit after a certain time because nobody could figure it out.
Yeah.
And
no, I get that.
A cardiologist, like, he hung me upside down. He gave me nitroglycerin on my tongue. I had all these funky experiences. I had to run on a treadmill, do the stress test, everything. And nobody could find anything. They could just tell me how I'm in great shape. And I said, all right, well, I'm in such great shape. I feel like crap.
Right.
But okay, I look great, but I didn't feel, something was off. So I trained this guy who was a crew guy in college, and I got him bigger and stronger and all this stuff. So his dad was a doctor. He came in, he wanted to meet me, and he said, "Hey, come in," and his last name was Madonna. I mean, how cool is that? And he said, "Hey, I'm right down the street from you. I have a satellite office there. Just come in and see me." He wanted to do something, for me. And him and his wife ran it, and she was really cool too. They're both awesome. And I went in there. I told him everything I told the doctor. I said, "Well, He's like, "Well, everything seems good," and blah, blah, blah. And I said, "Look, you may think I'm crazy, but I'm also feeling this, this, and this. This is what I told my other doctor." And, he kind of poo-pooed it. And then he was like, "I don't think you're crazy." He's like, "Let's get a CAT scan." This is on Monday. I remember the day. This is on Monday. He said, "Let's get a CAT scan." We booked it for Friday because I got out early on Fridays. And that was it. That's when I got the call.
Yeah.
So this guy, Madonna, saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would have just gave up. And he asked me it's not like the first time. And I'm like, okay, sure, I'll go to the doctor. Like, he asked me like multiple times. His wife asked me, everybody. And so I finally said, fine, I'll go.
Wow.
Yeah. And that changed everything.
Yeah. So what happens after that?
I dated everybody. I went on a tear.
Oh my God.
I dated my radiologist.
Stop it.
I did. I was on the table and I was like, I'm looking at her and like, she looked like Britney Spears, and she came out, she gave me her number. I figured if I'm going to potentially die, I'm going to have fun.
Okay.
So in that I did. And, I'm not saying it was good, but I mean, I went to bars and sat outside bars because I was a bouncer for 6 years. Mm-hmm. I never smoked. I didn't really drink that much, because, you can't work out and drink. There's no way. Well, not successfully. I would sit there and watch people go in and out and get so angry. And I would talk to God all the time. And I'd be like, why am I sitting here? What about these guys? Like, I felt like I was being judged. And I don't understand it. Like, why is this happening to me? And that's the normal thing, Like,
sure.
I wasn't really angry, but I was just confused. Like, I'm helping people for a living. Why this? Why me? Like, can't you pick that guy? Like literally, I'm like looking at people like, how about him? Like, can we just transfer it? And then I was like praying, like, can it be testicular cancer? I'm like, I'm fine. I'll lose a testicle. It's okay. But I didn't want a kidney. Like, I'm like, I know what they do. Anyway, I got that out. And before the surgery, on my little dating tear, I met this one girl who worked for a doctor's office. She was really, really nice. And I went out with her. I met her on MySpace. That's how long this is.
Wow.
Yeah. She had a really cool MySpace page. So she came. I got her to come to my gym. I gave her a training session. This was like the first date almost. Yeah, I think it was like the first date. Or the second date. First date, we went to a Japanese restaurant.
Her second date was a training session?
Second date was training session. Yeah, no pressure on her.
Okay.
But the first date, this is the reason why I asked her to come, because the first date, I was like, look, I know it's the first date. Like, I don't want to unload on you, but I got to be honest. I have cancer and I have surgery next month. I don't even know what's going to happen. So if you're looking for somebody long-term, I'm not your guy. And she was like, and we're eating, we have chopsticks, mind you. And she goes, believe me, I know all about losing things. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, you haven't noticed? I'm like, notice what? And now I'm looking. She had 2 fingers missing.
Oh. And
I didn't even see it. And she showed me, and I'm like, it was so cool. It was such a good moment. And I had such a connection. And I guess it was mutual. I told her to go and, work out. That was the second date. In the parking lot at nighttime, I'm like, come to Florida with me.
Okay. For what?
My parents just built a house out there. And we're just going to go have a good time. That was it for a week. Because I took off of work. I was like, done. I'm not working anymore. I called my ex-employee up and I said, hey, I'm going to shut down my business. You want it? And she was in Pittsburgh. And she worked for me for like 5-6 years. And she was like, what? And I told her what happened. She's like, I'm coming down tomorrow night. She came down. I think she even came down that night. She came down and she ran my business for me.
Wow.
While I was getting myself ready for the surgery. And then after that, she was awesome. So I had her. She was nursing me basically after the surgery.
Which one?
The
girl that went to Florida with you?
Yeah, the girl went to Florida. So anyway, she helped me through the whole thing. And that was somebody that actually, without getting involved in it, that was probably the first time that I was thinking about marrying somebody.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It just wasn't the right time. I had to get back in. I couldn't hang with her anymore. I had to say, look, it's, and I told her, and she didn't take it very well, but she helped me buy the building too. Like, she didn't help me buy it, but she got like paperwork, filled out forms. She was so good. And we weren't even going out.
Yeah.
That's how great she was. Yeah. She's awesome, awesome person. Yeah. Another person due to my business that I'll never see again. In that capacity. I did see her actually.
Due to your business
year.
that you'll never see again? What do you mean?
Well, because I've had so many girlfriends and my business always came first. It was almost like I was married to my business.
Is that why you've never been married?
Yeah. Yeah, I can
No
honestly
interest or no?
I've had interest, but my business came first. And it was almost like it was the mistress sometimes because like, oh, well, who are you training? Because, these girls, who are these girls? Or they're texting you late at night and they're doing this, they're calling. Yeah, but I'm not interested in them. They're, I'm working with them. But there were some people that crossed lines. There's some people that were just trying to explore. They were married, but they were trying to explore maybe a little bit to see, stuff like that. And I knew what was going on. But I didn't really bite. But it was a strain. So that was tough.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Has there ever been somebody that you were like, the business wasn't first?
No, the business was always first.
Okay.
I wanted somebody that wanted me and knew that was my baby and the business. Not that it was a wife or a mistress. That's my baby. That's something that I created from nothing. And would respect that and trust. But I was also looking for somebody that was like an equal. We're close to it, I wanted somebody who was professional that wasn't looking for a boy toy. Because most of the successful women I dated were, they were looking for like a boy toy and they figure, oh, he's a gym guy. They didn't take it serious. Like, oh, he's not probably making anything here. I don't know. I really don't know what it's kind of like a guy doing that. I don't know. I don't have that mentality, but that's what it felt like.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had your surgery.
Had the surgery and
you're healing.
I'm healing and all my facilities, they were all going to go away. So while I had cancer and I was away and Rachel was running the business, everybody that I had contracts. Now again, I made my own contracts for these people. They were all coming to a close the following year. So all these people while I was, rehabbing or whatever myself and getting my head together, they found somebody else to take the space that I was in.
Oh.
And employees were stealing from me. They were trying to take like the convalescent homes and the retirement communities. They were trying to get hired by them, cut out me, the middleman. And so everybody was screwing me because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
And, that kind of sucked.
Well, what was happening? Because you had somebody running it.
She was the only one that was trustworthy. And honest. Yeah. But she had no clue, and she was doing her own thing. I mean, it was like, everybody had their own autonomy.
Right. Like she jumped in, but she wasn't. She
filled my role. Yeah.
Right. It wasn't what she was doing before that. So she still had her stuff going on.
Well, actually, I bought a house so she could live there before my surgery. So I bought a house in apparently a record time. And as soon as I walked in, I knew, and I said, I'll take it. That's it. I was on a Monday. No, it was on a Tuesday. I got a loan, no doc, and I had settlement on that Tuesday, the next Tuesday.
Jeez.
Because I had to go in surgery on Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
So I basically told everybody, my realtor, I gave her power of attorney because I was in surgery. And as soon as the surgery ended and I was, coming out and everything, I made it at noon. So I said, if you don't, you have to call me. And if you don't get me, and if somebody answers the phone and said I didn't make it, then nix the sale, and they only lost a week. So, just, don't let everybody know now that it could fall through. But then you could tell them, hey, he died. And no harm, no foul, it's only a week. Oh, okay, well, it's only a week. And that's fine. They'll be like, okay. So she called me and I said, yeah, I got through and everything and signed the papers. And so she signed the papers and that was it. So I bought this house and I called Rachel. I said, the house is good. You can start moving in.
Your prognosis wasn't great.
In the beginning, yeah. They didn't know where it was going to go,
okay.
How it spread.
And so you are thinking, what? That you're going to die? That you most likely will die?
I had my rights read to me twice, and that didn't make me feel comfortable. Plus, they didn't know. And I was having all these tests.
But did you request that? Or
No, that was standard protocol.
Okay.
And then before the surgery, of course, all the tests, everything's turning out looking good. It's all contained in the kidney, blah, blah, blah. So you have to get your kidney taken out, your adrenal gland, and a bunch of other stuff that's around it, like surrounding it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't know. Whatever you got to do,
Sure.
My head was already like detached and spinning. So, yeah.
Yeah. So you went on your dating tear, as you said it. And I mean, I'm sure like part of that was just you being out of body at some point.
That's how I dealt with it.
Out of mind. Yeah.
Took my mind off of things.
Were you actually thinking this is it? Like I have to prepare for the end? Or was this just like, this is the best distraction that I can think of right now?
I think subconsciously it was the best distraction I could ever have. And also I figured if I'm going to die, I'm going to have as much fun as I can and spend as much money as I can. I was pissed because all I did was work.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked from fourth grade doing odd jobs, but that's me. I was like, I was just getting that. And so all I did was work. And I feel like I wasted my life. I wasted my life. I never got married. I never had kids. I could have been married 4 times over at least. And I never did any of that stuff. All I did was put my eggs in one basket with this business. And I was pissed at myself that I never had good balance.
So you come through it. Mm-hmm. Do you go back to the way you were living, or do you have a renewed sense of...
No, I'm still a jackass. So this is what happened. I was training these clients, and I was piloting for a bunch of years a 24-hour gym.
Okay.
And that's what I wanted to do since high school, 24-hour gym. So I piloted the facility that's next to my facility now, that will across the street. I had this door that I made. I had the lock system that I got from this locksmith that the U.S. Treasury used to use with microchip fobs and everything. And it was going great. I was looking up leases, because I couldn't stay here anymore. It was so expensive. My leases were like $1,200. Every single lease I had basically was $1,200.
Wow.
It was nothing.
Yeah.
Like in one day I was paying for my lease. Mm-hmm. It was great. But now I had to figure out $5,000 to $6,000 to $7,000 a month. So then one of my clients said, right across the street, they're building a building. You should go look at it. They're leasing it by floor.
Okay, so this is where you are now.
Yes, and where I am now. So we went in, I just like the house. I walked in, I looked around, and I was like, yeah, I'll take this. This is perfect. There's windows. I never had a place that had a window. And that was it. So I bought the building.
What year was this?
This is in 2007.
Okay.
This is.
So wait, you have your surgery in 2006.
Yeah.
You're
in October.
Okay.
And then I bought this.
Wow.
I moved fast.
So fast.
Yeah, I moved fast with everything I did.
Wow. When did you find out that your employees were all stealing from you?
In 2007, early on.
Okay. So you wanting to do this 24-hour gym, was that going to be on top of what you already had? Or it was after having to close everything down that you were like, well
I figured this is what's going to happen. I guess I'm just going to combine all my facilities.
Okay.
And with all that equipment, I could fill this huge place. Because for me, it was huge. I mean, 3,200 square feet was my biggest place was maybe 1,200 square foot. So now I have something that's 3 times the size of it.
Yeah.
So I had to take all the equipment I had and put it in there. I got rid of a lot of equipment too. I sold it. But yeah, that's it. And then that's where I met my daughter's mother
At the gym.
Not at the gym, but she was a realtor. The person who owned the real estate firm, it was his daughter that worked there. She was starting to work for him. And my realtor, sometimes, she had parties and she would call me up and say, hey, the owner's daughter was asking about you, saw you come in and, when you were doing paperwork or something. So she's interested, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to mix that because it's not good. Anyway, she started showing up in all these places that I was at, ironically. And then she was impressed that I was buying this building.
Like, what does that even mean?
It was like stalking.
Yeah.
Because I'm like at a gas station. I'm like, what are you doing here? She's like, oh, you're here? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I could see she was trying to go up the street to where I was. And I'm like, but it was fine. I thought it was kind of cute. And I was like, oh, all right. So she was aggressive and she wasn't my type.
Okay.
But I figured, you know what? Nothing has been working for me. Let me date outside the box. So we dated for like a month, but she, for me, again, it was out of the box. So we just didn't gel, I thought. And so we broke it off. And then a month later, I felt kind of bad because it didn't really end well. So, I don't like things being like that. So I called her like a month later to ask her about a property. It was a legit question, but I didn't have to call her. But I did. I just said, hey, just want to see how you're doing, blah, blah. She's like, oh, yeah. Hey, come on over. And I was like, all right, cool. I can come over, be face to face, and then everything's going to be good. That's all I want it to be. I just want everything to be good. I don't want people to be mad at me and, whatever. And then she tells me that she's pregnant.
Oh.
And she knew for like a month. Everybody knew except for me.
Oh, wow. So you dated for a month and then this is another month after
another
that.
month or so later. And I'm like, this is why, we weren't in my head. I'm like, why don't you tell me this?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know if I was going to ever tell you.
Oh.
That didn't sit well with me at all because, I'm adopted and that's a last thing you do to adopt a person. You can't have a child and then just not tell them about it.
Yeah.
So anyway, now I have a child.
And you didn't get back together?
Well, me being me. So this is what happened. I found out I had cancer and then a couple of months later, my mom finds out she has cancer.
Oh, no.
Lung cancer. And she had it. Another doctor that screwed up. So anyway, now she has a year to live. I just got done rehab of cancer. I just bought a building. And now I'm dealing with, I got a child on the way and my mom's dying. And she has 8 months to live at this point. I'm like, this sucks. So now I have to deal with this. So then I move her into my house.
Who?
My daughter's mother.
Okay.
To try. Because I'm like, all right, I got to do this the right way. Because the last thing I want is for my daughter to grow up without me. So I'm like, well, I had problems with girls before. I'll just have problems with this person. Maybe I can make this work. I don't know. I didn't know what I was doing. But all I knew was I was trying to do the right thing. I moved her in. It wasn't great. But then I bought a really expensive ring. And I was like, I got to ask her to marry me because I got to make this work. Because I can't. There's no way I possibly can do this to a child. So I asked her to marry. I asked the father. I asked her. Did everything the right way. We were living together, and it just didn't work out. And that's that.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it right. I wanted my mom to see it done right and everything. So then in March the next year, my daughter was born. And my mom got to see her for, I think, a year or so. A year.
Wow.
And that was it. She started, I think she walked because I have a picture of her standing on the bed when she was in hospice. And that was the last picture I think that was taken of her with my daughter. And that was it.
Yeah.
So that didn't work out.
But that's okay.
Yeah. But I had my daughter. And I think that's what it was for. So my mom can have a grandchild. She got to see my daughter, and it was my blood. So she got to see her granddaughter. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So there you go. Because she always wanted kids of her own, but she couldn't have. That's why she adopted, obviously. So.
Okay.
So that made me, all those experiences.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, though, forcing marriage is never good for the children anyway.
No, it's not. And that's what I figured at the end. I didn't even want to come home at night. Now I felt I don't know if my dad felt this way in the marriage, or I saw other clients just not happy. And I was like, man, I don't want to be one of these guys or girls. I don't want to be miserable in a marriage. So I was like, there's no way. I'm not going to do it. And I told her, it's just not fair to either of us. It's not fair to, to our future daughter.
Yeah.
So, get along, and at least she'll have both of us.
Yeah.
So it was a tough decision, but it was the only one that I thought that for the long term.
Sure.
Yeah.
And now you co-parent.
Yes. But it was very tough in the beginning, courts all the time.
Oh, really?
Because I wanted to have 50% custody. I had no idea. I just thought that, well, the baby's half mine. Shouldn't I get half the time? No. You need to pay an exorbitant amount of money, and you need to see her, if you're lucky, 30% of the time. And I thought that sucked. So I spent about $40,000, almost $50,000 to get a normal schedule. It was a waste of time and money. But I never had a lawyer just flat out tell me there's no amount of money that you could ever spend and get full or 50% custody.
That doesn't make any sense.
Didn't make sense to me. That's why I spent $40,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I lost every single time. I am 0 for like 20 in court. There's nothing. I thought that I could plead with the judge.
What's the reasoning for not giving you 50% custody?
Protocol. They have their own protocol, and that's it. They don't deviate from it. It doesn't matter if I'm low income, high income, if I'm white, black. It doesn't matter what I am. I am on the same playing field as everybody else. Guys that don't pay child support, guys that run away, I'm that guy. It doesn't matter who I am. That was not fair.
Well, and why didn't your ex want to share custody with you?
Because this is what my lawyers all told me, because I had multiples. What they told me is that she makes more money every month for child support if she sees your daughter the most. So I think she thought, A, I'm going to make all this money from this, and B, if he wants to see her so bad, he must be thinking the way I'm thinking, that he wants to spend less money. So I think she thought that I just want to see my daughter just because I want to save money. But she had no clue about, that's the thing, she had no clue about me. You're talking to a kid who was adopted and didn't have a good support network, and all I wanted to do was love this child.
Yeah.
And when she was born, that's it. That was the first time I knew true love.
Mm-hmm.
All I wanted to do was just spend every single second with her. And I adjusted my schedule to this day. My schedule was adjusted just so I could see my daughter.
Good, as it should be.
Yeah. Nobody gives you any respect for that. Nobody says, oh, that's great. Not in the court system. They were like, nope, that's okay. So I don't know why it's a hearing. They're not hearing me. They're just telling me. And I had one judge yell at me. And I'm like, wait a minute. Everyone's yelling at me. The lawyer, he's yelling at me. She's trying to yell at me. And, my lawyer's kicking me under the table with her $7,000 heels. And I'm like, I looked at the judge. And I said, if you expect me to call you your honor, you have to show me some honor. You can't disrespect me and talk to me like you're talking to me. Like everybody in here. What are you talking? You're talking to me like I'm some criminal. Like I'm here to try to get to see my daughter. I'm not here to try to get out of jail or to give you an excuse. I just want to see my daughter. I want to see my daughter one day. Yeah. One day extra. That's it. I had her Wednesday and every other weekend. I just want to see her on Monday now. Like I'm not going to work just like on Wednesday so I can see my daughter. Mm-hmm. What is all this? Don't yell at me. Like you telling me the guy before me and after me and all these other guys, I know this one guy, he didn't even show up. Like I'm here.
Right.
And then he was like, I apologize. I'm Italian and this is how that. I said, I grew up in an Italian household. You don't talk to people like that. I'm not in your house. I don't care if you're Italian. So, but this is what it was like. And it was at the point where I had to take 2 Valium every time I went to court because it would kill me. It literally killed me inside. It's tough, man.
That is tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with the way that you grew up and just not having...
The support network was weak.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah.
So your mom's gone. Are you still in contact with the rest of your family?
It's funny. Today is her birthday.
Your mom?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, September 19th. No, when my mom died, that was it. My sister moved into the house like instantly, like while she was dying in the house. She started moving her stuff in. And when she died, my dad gave the house to her and he moved to Florida and got married within a year. Like a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then I found out something on a date. Somebody said something, that I guess my dad ran around a lot or something. It's just the way it was. And my mom told me this. She said, "Hey, when I go, just expect your dad's going to be married right away. He can't live on his own by himself. He has to have somebody. And I didn't know what that meant. Now I know exactly what it meant. I know what she was telling me. It was I was like, all right. She was a tough chick that way, man. That's tough. You only got one life.
Sure. Yeah. That's
right.
True.
I mean, to a certain extent. I mean, you got to be honorable and everything.
Yeah.
But this is what led me here to be me, today. I mean, there was a lot of ups and downs. I felt like starting my business made me, at 19, I guess I was, made me figure out who I was. Because I don't think I ever started to know myself until 19. So
what about now? Like, how has everything evolved to now? And what does life look like now with your business?
Well, so now I'm going to complain. So after COVID, COVID happened. Like, everything's great. And then COVID happens. And that's what everybody feels. But, they shut me down and it sucked. And I had to sell my house that I was living in for 16 years.
Do you still have your rental properties?
I sold all of those too.
When?
When I was having my daughter, I started getting rid of them because you can't have 10 facilities and 6, 7 rental properties. You can't have any of that stuff. It's too much. That's a single guy's life. I wasn't a single guy anymore, even though I was single, but I'm a dad now. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to be my dad. I want to be present in her life. I wanted to be there all the time. I mean, not like my dad was like a deadbeat by any means. He was he worked all the time.
Yeah.
But he provided financially. I have moments that I can remember, maybe a couple on my hand that I can remember with my dad. It was happy moments. Mm-hmm. My daughter, I got a collage of 13 years of all the places we've been to. There was thousands of moments.
Yeah.
And that to me is what I wanted for her. I wanted her to have the moments that I didn't have. And me going through the business, me learning about myself and failing miserably in relationships, failing probably as a son, failing in every single way, but thriving as something that I never knew I could be. It was, like an owner of something and help people, get people on medication, get people, now they don't have diabetes anymore, like all sorts of stuff. In every single age group, that built me up to have confidence to say, hey, I'm not like a piece of shit, because I felt that growing up for 19 years. I was no good. But going through all of this, working at the convalescent home, working at the sports medicine, working with kids, working at a high school gym, going to people's homes, having them let me in their home when they're vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And saying, here, you take charge of this because I'm struggling. That empathy that I had for them, I needed just as much as they did. Mm-hmm. And that gave me the confidence and showed me that I had abilities and that everybody is just kind of the same. We're all in the same sea. We're all in the same body of water, but we're all rowing different we're when everyone says, we're all in the, like during COVID, we're all in the same boat. I'm like, no, we're not. Your boat is still working. Mine's sinking. That all led me to selling the house during COVID to keep my business alive, buying a tiny condo. All of this tension, all of this fighting shaped me to be more sensitive, more empathetic, and compassionate to anybody that I work with.
Yeah.
But it made me the father I am. And of course, growing up, that kind of stuff led me to what not to do, and led me to Christ. I would have never got baptized if I didn't make all of these mistakes. Mm-hmm. My life really didn't start until 44. I felt like I had maybe 2 or 3 lives now. I had the life up until 19, and then I had a life of like a successful womanizer, basically making all the mistakes, just doing whatever I wanted, going out with people. And then that just went away after cancer. And then I was lost from 33 until 44. I was running this gym that was awesome and it sucked. I had such a shitty experience. I couldn't make anything work anymore. Everything that I touched before went to gold. And now I couldn't make anything work. I couldn't make relationships work. I couldn't make one court case. I couldn't win one to get my daughter like for an extra hour. I was a loser again. It was a different feeling of like a failure while I was kind of succeeding in a way, in a sense. Like, some people could see it. Yeah, like, like exterior wise, people could. Yeah. But I wasn't happy.
Right.
So since 44, I got baptized. That's when my other life started. And I got to tell you, from 44 to now, I'll be 50 next month, or no, in 2 months. 5 years feels like my entire life. The other stuff is a blur. Everything else I just told you is a total blur.
Wow.
I mean, I could recall it, but
sure.
in my id and how I feel about myself, I don't feel like I'm a loser. I don't feel any of this stuff. It's like it washed everything out. So it's the best experience I've ever had, and this is the best life. I'm still screwing it up in a lot of ways, I'm sure. But it's the best it's ever been.
That's great.
Yeah.
So wait, one thing you didn't talk about was the powerlifting. How did you, because you competed, right?
Yeah, so that's my first meet was in senior high school.
And so that was Jay that got you into that?
Jay got me into that. I got Powerlifting USA magazine. That at the time was an international magazine, but it was a really nice glossy. Every page was glossy.
Do you still have a copy?
No, I threw them all out when I moved, and I was in like 30 of them. Yeah, and I threw them all out. After with COVID, I figured, okay, my life is over here. I can't bring all this stuff to this house. So I have to throw stuff. My daughter wouldn't let me throw away all my trophies. She's not let me, but she told me to keep them. But I did throw out a lot. Yeah, with the powerlifting I got in, that was high school. After the magazine, I found it said upcoming meets and where to go. And I went to a meet. It was in Delaware at the YMCA in Wilmington. And it was scary for me because I didn't know anything about it. Jay couldn't come with me. Nobody could come with me. So I was alone.
So
my dad dropped me off.
This is a meet, but how long had you been lifting?
I've been lifting
seriously.
Since,
yeah, I know, second grade. But
7th grade is when I switched to 6.6 dumbbells to 20-pound dumbbells. My arms were so sore, and I knew I was on the right track.
Okay.
And then I was like, all right, this is no good because those got easy pretty quick. And then I snuck into the YMCA in Ardmore, and then at my school, I went to the gym there too.
Okay. You were playing sports though still, right?
Yeah, I was crushing. Yeah, and that's when I was like summer of 7th grade and 8th. I came back in 8th grade and everyone thought I was like on juice or something. Like I was, I put so much muscle on in so little time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was still tall and skinny in my mind. So, yeah.
That's called body dysmorphia.
I had that.
So it's your senior year. You go to your first meet. What does that look like? Not for you, but what does it look like in general? What is a meet?
This meet that I went to was just a bench meet. I just started with one lift. Usually there's 3: bench press, deadlift, squat.
Okay.
This was just a bench press meet, and it was sanctioned by United States Powerlifting Federation. And they were like huge back then.
Oh.
I don't know how they are now, but the USPF, And
okay.
It was a big deal, and I had to get a membership card and all sorts of stuff. And before I did the meet, they did weigh-ins. It's very scary. If you don't make weight, then you have to go up to the next weight class. So I was like 160 pounds, or something like that, 155 pounds. I don't know what I was, but I was light. And I think they had 2 benches with 2 flights. It was a pretty big meet. And then they go from like the super light weights to super heavy weights. And they just keep going. So then as the bar keeps going, whoever lifts the most weight is at the end. So it's a lot of waiting around. There's rules. So whatever you lift at a gym, like a guy says he can lift in a gym, cut it by like 25, 30%. And that's really what you can lift in powerlifting because you have to like hold it on your chest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so what you do is you take it off the rack and then you go down and then they want to see control and then they say press. And then you press it and you have to hold it there. And then they say rack. And then you rack it. There's 3 lights. If you get 2 white lights, then it's good.
Okay.
2 red lights, it's no good. So anyway, long story short, I did the meet. The youngest person there pretty much. In my flight, the youngest guy next to me was a junior in college, I think. And I missed my first 2 lifts. The first lift I got, and I racked it too soon. The second lift I missed because I just had a bad line. I hit my chest at the wrong point, and then it got all fumbly. And so I didn't get it. And then the third lift, I saw his numbers and I'm like, screw it. I'm going to do what he did because I weigh less and I'll win. And so I'm like, I'm just going to go for the win because I have nothing to lose now. I don't have one lift that I did. Okay. So this is it. I put it all on the line. And I got it up and I was so excited and I racked it and I was like, yeah, and everyone's cheering me. But the cheers went away very quickly and I'm like, and then and I see the red lights, 3 red lights. And they're like, you racked it too soon. And I'm like, oh. So I lost my first meet. Man. I won, but I lost.
Yep.
And the guy came up to me afterwards. He tried to give me the trophy. He's like, dude, here, you take it. He's like, you beat me and blah, blah. I said, no, I lost fair and square. Mm-hmm. It's my first meet. I'm an idiot. This is, I won't learn anything. So that was kind of cool. So yeah, it was the first meet. And then after that, I just kept rolling. Just like, you know, everything else. I would do like 3 meets a month, which is like ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah. I just kept going.
How big is this on a national level?
Oh, it's horrible. Well, now it's actually starting to come back. Everyone wants a power lift now. And I'm looking at people like, really? Like, this, nobody wanted to do this back then. I mean, so much that the Powerlifting USA magazine folded. You know, it's like, you can't find it. It's nothing. But now it's like, it's everywhere. That and like, I guess it was CrossFit. Now it's powerlifting. But still, there's just not enough people to make the sport anything. They tried to put it in the Olympics. You know, they need a good movie. You know, of course, I have in my mind all sorts of screenplays. I'm like, oh, you could do this, and because I have like, done so many meets.
The miracle of powerlifting.
Well, just something cool to make it look good, and what it is. It's a very family-oriented sport. So there's a lot of families. Everybody's blazing nice. Everyone's like out of their way nice. It's great. They're all like the coolest thing ever. It's pretty cool to go to one. I recommend to go just watch one. So,
how many have you done, do you think, total?
I probably did like 60 meets.
Wow.
Yeah, because I had like 75 trophies at one point.
Wow.
So
how do you have more trophies than meets?
Because I would enter teenage class, and then open class.
Okay.
So then sometimes I get 2 trophies. There was different classes. And then there was junior classes sometimes, which is like 20 to 23, so.
And when did you stop doing it?
I stopped doing it, I believe, 2002. That's when I went to the Nationals. I was in Baltimore, Maryland at the convention center, and I did, I forget how much I did. I was 175 or something like that, and I weighed 165.
Wow.
Or no, I weighed 175. Yeah. So I curled my body weight. So, but now the rules are different. Like they don't use a straight bar anymore. They use a curved curl bar, and then they make you put your back against the wall, which is a lot easier than what we had to do.
Oh.
So when I tried to do it their way, like I don't know how many years ago, I tried to do it, and it was a lot easier. But
so maybe you should get back in the game.
No, I'm really heavy now, so now I'm 220 instead of 175, and I'd have to cut off like I think probably both my legs together 175 now. So yeah. There's no way. Like I can't lose weight. I tried. I got to 205, I think, like earlier this year, and my body was like, nah. So yeah.
Okay. Well, you kind of started to answer. You started to answer this question, but I actually have to ask you this question. So, through the lens of your experience, what is compassion?
My best reference was when I learned this in school and college about empathy, sympathy, like what they all meant. And basically, like an amputee patient, I don't know what he's going through. I know the work he's going through because I'm doing it with him. I'm giving him the work. So I can empathize that he's going through all that, and I can have compassion that he's putting in the work. He's had something majorly horrible happen to him, and he's got to now endure that. If I don't know what you're going through, I can empathize with it. I can have compassion, and I know the work it's going to take. And I want to be there, and I want to help you, and what can I do? And I think instead of me saying, you're going to dig ditches or you're screwed, I want to be there for the person in any capacity if they want me to, and I'll be there to help, whether it's mentally or physically. For me, it's both, like what I do for a living. So every day I have compassion for somebody, whether it's, they have Parkinson's where they're just trying to lose the extra 5 pounds, that's just as important to me as the next. Mm-hmm. Whatever your goals are, it's my goals. And then most of the time when I see somebody, they're undershooting because there's so much more to them that they don't even see. Sure. And I only know that. And I can only have compassion, empathy, and sympathy now because I knew that. Because I know that that's how Bill looked at me. So now we're going to go back. I think, I can't speak for Bill, that's what he saw in me.
Yeah.
And I think that he did for me, and I took that, and basically I do that for others. So when I see somebody now, I'm trying to like Bill them, like I'm trying to be like Bill, like, and saying, hey, look, I see what you're talking about, and I see so much more.
Do you still talk to Bill?
No. Bill's a very German, straight guy. I don't think he wants to deal with me, which I don't blame him.
You're over. We had our time.
Yeah, and believe me, his relationship didn't mean as much as it meant to me. So, and I realized that. I was 19. I was a fool.
I mean, that just goes
different points.
Yeah, for sure. And it just goes to show you never know what kind of impact you're having in somebody's life.
Yeah. And him and Jay, now I got a chance to talk to Jay and tell him. I had him over to my house with his wife when I got my first house and say, hey, this is all because of you. You're the first person that supported me and told me I could do things that I never thought. I just thought you were blowing smoke on my ass. You were the fire, the spark, not even the spark. He was more than that. He was the fire that got me going. And he still won't admit it. He said, oh, it's all you. And every time I see him, I bumped into him. It was just before COVID. And I still thank him. I said, hey, this is my daughter. All this I attribute to him. Because without him, I don't know if Bill would have given me a job.
Sure.
Without him, I would have powerlifted. Without him, I wouldn't have done all these things. I wouldn't have opened up myself physically of what I could do and mentally what I can do, because you can't do anything physically if you don't have the mental aspect of it too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had the confidence to start my own business. I don't know what would have happened to me. But my therapist that I used to have, he says that most adopted people, and I know from my cousins, you usually turn into a drug addict, alcoholic, suicide. It's not a good outcome for people that are adopted. It kind of sucks if you look at the percentages. It's a tough life.
Yeah.
What
are your feelings on adoption?
Oh no, I'm not anti-adoption.
Well, no, it's a fair question though. Because...
Yeah. Oh no, I think it's great, but it's anybody that's gonna. And my therapist, I told him too, because he adopted a daughter, and I told him, I said, hey, look, we're all done here, and if you need anything, call me, because it's going to get rough, and it's going to suck. Even if oh no, my daughter's fine. Yeah, you think so? Things happen, and when you remove somebody from their mother, that bond is gone. You were in there for 9 months. You heard them talking. You felt their emotions. That doesn't go away. Like, you don't consciously know, but you have it in there.
Yeah.
My daughter was born. She looked at me and she knew exactly who I was. She heard my voice and she started studying me. I wouldn't take my eyes off of her, and she wouldn't take her eyes off of me, because she heard my voice and she connected it. We still to this day have the connection. Still to this day. That connection was because I talked to her, I sang to her, I tried to connect with her, my hand feeling her during those 9 months. And that connection gets completely shut down, and all of a sudden it's gone. Telling me that's not going to affect a child or an adult, like growing up. That's for the rest of your life. And there's some people that I know that's like, oh yeah, I don't even care. It doesn't bother me. But my experience, why was I always trying to look for my mom when I found out everything? There's a reason. And it's the hardest thing. As much as anger that I had for her, and she left me, she discarded me. I look at it differently, where after having a child, that's the hardest thing that she ever had to do.
Yeah.
So even if she was had ill will, still. Do
you know her story?
No, I only think that she is talking with my Turkish cousin. So I grew up thinking I was Scottish and French. Well, my mother lied on the birth certificate. Well, not the birth certificate, to the nuns. So she came from Scotland.
Your birth mother.
My birth mother.
Yeah.
So I think my birth mother, according to the conversation I had with my Turkish cousin who found me on Ancestry. I must have been conceived in Cyprus.
Okay.
Because my father was going to med school, and my mother must have been a nurse going into med school inside, because that's where it was. I think he was married, but not in a great relationship, or it could have been just before. I don't know. We're not really sure timelines, and it's the language barrier too. You never know, but yeah. So
then you were connected with Turkish.
Yeah, my
cousins.
ancestry. Yeah, this girl.
And that's when you found out?
Yeah, she was like, "You're my cousin. Like, who are you?" And I was like, "Oh." And then we had a huge, long phone call, and a translator, her friend. And then it wasn't until I showed her a picture of me when I was younger, and then I showed a picture of my daughter. And as soon as she saw my daughter, they started like going nuts. And they're like, "You're Genji's kid." And I'm like, "I don't even know what the hell a Genji is." That was his name. And that was it. They knew because they showed me pictures, and she looks like all these people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I look like my stepsisters, or not my half sisters, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
like when I was little, it's like little me.
Is he still alive?
No, he died at 45. He was a famous neurosurgeon. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so he was apparently so famous that they wanted him in government. And he was, the night before he was going to get sworn in for government, he got in his car accident and died.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah. So there you go.
And you wanted to be a surgeon when you were growing up?
I wanted to be a hand surgeon.
Interesting. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a shame that he passed, but did he know about you?
No, they said that if he knew about me, you would be in Turkey right now.
Oh.
So yeah, they said you had no idea.
Do any other family members know about you?
I have no idea. Just the sisters, my two cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And I was like, I don't know. She was like, "Oh, you got to come, see us, blah, blah." And I was like, I don't really know. How's that going to work? I don't want to cause any problems, especially with the wife. Mm-hmm. And I'd love to see my half sisters, but like, how do you explain that? "Oh no, the family's not like that. They're very intelligent and very, very wealthy. They're going to be open arms and all this other stuff. They'll understand. It was back in the day, whatever." But nothing's ever came from it. Mm-hmm. I think they're like, "Yeah, that's a good bring up."
No, you should do it.
Point.
Well, you should go.
Yeah, and so we'll see. I don't know. So,
thank you so much for listening to The Human Experience. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please subscribe, share it with others, and leave a rating and review on your favorite platform. Everyone has a story, and I'd love to hear yours, so be sure to check out the show notes for more information about how to stay in touch. Do good and take care.